Greetings and salutations, Mega Wizard 79 here with another Nier commentary. So, oh boy, this episode. So, so in this episode, let me just turn down the game volume because I don't need to hear it. Anyway, but yeah, so, in this episode, oh boy, so oh boy. I'm just great at this, aren't I? Anyway, in this episode, we're going to be facing the songstress. The machine in that opera house that uses androids to pretty much hack you and all that junk. So yeah, as a result, I'm going to be doing a lot of hacking in this episode. Oh god, the hacking. You'll see when we get there. It's not my best. Not that I was any good at it to begin with. But yeah, right now we're receiving the message from the commander telling us to go to the amusement park. Well, she's not saying to go directly to the amusement park. She's just saying to go to where the black box signals are and yada yada yada.
I heard something about that back.
But yeah, it's just goodness gracious, we should probably check this out as soon as possible. To be honest, the hacking mechanic in this game, I can see it being fun if it wasn't for the fact that I'm just really lousy at it. Because it's almost like, it's essentially like Space Invaders, where, honestly, I don't even know how many of you even know what Space Invaders is. But yeah, it's essentially essentially Space Invaders, more or less, is just, you just have this little ship that's pretty much just shooting at, actually wait, no, it's not a ship, it's actually a tank. Yeah, it's a tank that you move around between 3 barriers, and then you got this row of basically ships coming down, to basically, invade Earth. Hence the name, Space Invaders. But yeah, so pretty much you just go back and forth between your barriers and try to take out the invading ships. So and obviously they're shooting back at you. They're not just standing there either. But it's only the row that's right directly at you that's shooting at you. It's not like all the rows are shooting at the same time, because otherwise they'd be shooting themselves. And then there's just, it's an old game, okay? Like from the 80s, if I recall. Pretty much as old as Pac-Man. So yeah. But so pretty much you just use that you just basically use you use your barriers to basically keep you safe while you're basically shooting at them. Of course, every time they shoot at your barrier, it picks off a little bit at the barrier, and also any shot from them will just instantly kill you because you only have 1 life, as opposed to the hacking game here, where at least you get 3 mistakes. But that's just not enough. It's so annoying. The reason I'm fishing right here is because you can actually get a weapon from the sewers here, if you fish it out. It's just a lead pipe. That's all it is. It's nothing particularly special. Unless you max the damn thing out, and then apparently it's one of the most powerful weapons in the entire freaking game. No word of a lie. It's actually up there in the higher echelons. It's like, I think that, like, basically, if these weapons had a tier system, that would easily be a tier 1 weapon. It would just, it fully upgraded, that thing destroys. It has ridiculous values. Of course, though, it's, I guess you could kind of say it's kind of a rare drop, and because, what is it? Because, I just, oh boy, goodness gracious. I need to work on my speech. Anyway. But, yeah, like, so I'm, like, here for, like, maybe a minute or two, pretty much just fishing, trying to see if I can get that damn thing. So, for the most part, nothing interesting is happening. Unfortunately, I don't get it. Spoilers. I think I'll just probably fish for it off camera and then probably show it to you guys later. Again, it's just a pipe. That's all it is. It's just a stupid little joke weapon that is actually an incredibly powerful weapon if you upgrade it. But yeah. So for the most that's pretty much what I'm just doing for like the next like minute or two. So nothing really interesting is happening. At first I thought that was it, but apparently that's yeah, as you can see, it's a broken firearm. I assume it by the shape. I assume it's a bazooka. Now I'm just checking. Like I know that I was pretty sure that I didn't get the weapon in this save file. I know I got it in a different save file, but I didn't know if I got it in this one, so I was just checking. It's considered a small sword, so that's why I'm just looking, and no, as you can see, I don't have it, so that's why I'm, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't wasting my time, even though I kind of am wasting my time. I make like 2 more attempts, and then afterward I just give up on it. Now, this kind of annoys me right here, because as you can see, the damn thing constantly bobs. Something is nibbling on it, but because it doesn't go all the way down and submerges it, I can't catch it. If you try, like I've tried to do it mid-bob, I've tried to do it while it was bobbing, but unless the damn thing gets pulled underneath, if you pull it at any time before then, it's considered a failure. And it's like, it's so frustrating, because it's like, it's like, go down already! It's just so freaking, it's frustrating. But yeah. So, on an interesting note, for me anyway, like, I don't know if you guys noticed, but, yeah, right there, like 2B, she actually has some pretty interesting idle animations when she's in the water like that. So as you would assume, basically, those boots aren't waterproof. They're not intended for you to go wading in water. So as you can see, she's just basically constantly fidgeting, pulling them out, like just trying to shake the water out, only to realize that like I'm just gonna put it back in anyway. And she's just like, God damn it! It's like 9S, you bastard! Why are you doing this to me? But yeah. Also, if you noticed, while we were running in the water, like the bottom, I guess technically that would be called the hem. Like essentially like the last, I want to say third of her skirt, just gets like soaked. And it's like really shiny and glistening, because it's wet with water. And right now though, it's like back to its normal color because of the fact that like basically it finally dried off and stuff. But yeah, that is pretty interesting that nowadays games just have that. Yeah, as you can see, I just gave up because it's like, God damn it, like he just wouldn't grab it. So yeah, so now this is my final attempt right here. What did I get this time from that? I think I got another gas canister. I think that's what I got. So like I'm just like, you know what, like forget it, like I'll just do it off camera and we'll do it then. Because it's weird, because basically when I did it in a different save file, yep, gas cannon. So, sorry, gas cylinder. Fun little fact about the gas cylinders. So, in their description, apparently, it's actually illegal. In this, basically, like even right now in this post-apocalyptic universe, it's illegal to basically just dispose of these things without, proper, without following proper protocol. So every single gas cylinder basically has like a chip embedded at its base that is tied to a specific owner. So whenever these things are found, like dumped in the ocean or what have you, they'll be able to track down to the centimeter who that belongs to. It's like wow, man, Japan's really serious about maintaining its eco-friendly environments. I'm pretty sure I said that wrong, but whatever. To be honest, I doubt. Like, between you, me, and the floorboards, I don't really think people really watch this anyway. So, whatever. I mean, I just do this for fun, really. But yeah, I'm just running around now, just basically checking for chests and whatnot. You know, like the ones that only 9S can open. Now, these little cutaways, I don't necessarily know how to feel about them. Mostly because they seem very, what's the word I'm looking for? They feel more artistic than informative, if you guys can follow what I'm saying here. Like, it feels like, like, this is just, like, the writer kind of showing off than really trying to convey anything meaningful or, I hate using the same word twice in I hate using the same word twice this quick. But yeah, but essentially it's like it's nothing informative. It's not really telling us anything about the story or the characters that we necessarily don't really already know. It's it feels unnecessary, really. But yeah. So just running around, mostly just looking for stuff. Now, I didn't know if I triggered this dialogue in my first playthrough as 2B, so I just decided to trigger it again just to be sure. Just for completionism's sake. Now, I don't understand why she did that. Like, the AI of your companion is weird. They'll sometimes just jump for no apparent reason, or just they just do weird stuff. I really don't get it. I don't really buy anything from this shop right here. I just wanted to see if anything changed after going into this new playthrough. Because sometimes, like, the shops, they'll get, like, new things added to their inventory in these types of games, after you complete one cycle. Also, why the heck are dyes, like, 750 a pop? Like, what? I mean, I get it, like, dyes aren't particularly that cheap to manufacture because you need to procure specific chemicals and basically place them in certain combinations to ensure that they're safe but also non-toxic at the same time. Because the last thing you want to do is basically sell a carcinogenic to basically anybody. Which is very easy to do if you just start mixing chemicals. Like, usually if you start mixing chemicals, you get like one of two things. You'll either end up with like some kind of dangerous carcinogenic, which if you guys don't know what that means, it means it can lead to cancer cells forming. But yeah, like you can either result in that, or it's just a deadly toxin that'll just pretty much kill you if you breathe it in too much, like ammonia. Oh, funny story. So, one time, a manager of mine, like at my job, like this is going like 2 or 3 years back, but yeah, so I still can't believe this idiot did this, but yeah, so for any of you who have worked in retail, you guys know that usually the dairy cooler is like its own annex section, basically it either has like like a proper freezer door, or it just has like regular old sliding doors, or just doors in general. But the point is that basically it's its own isolated cubicle, if you will. So yeah, and for those of you who work in dairy coolers, first of all, I'm very sorry. That is one of the most disgusting, depending on the store usually, but Actually, no. You know what? I can't even say that. I really, I think this is just how it is across the board. So, a dairy cooler can be one of the most disgusting, putrid places next to the produce back room, just because of the fact that because it's so cold in there, cleaning in there is annoying because most chemicals won't react the way they're supposed to because it's too cold. Case in point, like basically, milk and stuff. Um, if you just, basically, if you end up dropping a gallon of milk inside the dairy cooler, which happens so much more often than you think it should, or if it just comes in broken, or if the bossy just for whatever reason decides to just tip over because the wheels are garbage. God, I mean, fortunately that one's never happened to me before, but I'm pretty sure somewhere at some time that happened because these bossies are garbage. The wheels will sometimes lock up or they won't go in the direction you want. But yeah, so basically because it's so cold in there, it's really hard to properly clean things because things won't, because it's so cold and and usually the floor is cement. It doesn't react the same way as tile. If something spills on tile, you just take a mop or a rag and you just soak it up. Easy. Cement's not that easy because of the fact that it's so grainy and it's not very smooth sometimes, or other times it's too smooth. But my point is that because of the texture, using a mop or a rag is a chore because you can't clean it right. It always feels like it's dragging against you because of the friction. So it turns a simple 5 or 10 minute job into a 20-30 minute job just because of the fact that it's that hard to really get it to move across the damn floor. This is why you're supposed to use things like magic mix or any of those powders that you just basically use to mix with a liquid so that it just soaks it up and then you just sweep it up. Unfortunately though, again, your mileage will vary depending on your company, but I know with the place I used to work with, they pretty much all but told you to only use that for the most. You either use it for a chemical spill or you use it for glass. Any other type of spill. Oh, and oil. You use it for oil too because obviously you can't mix water and oil. So if oil spills on the floor, you use the magic mix. But yeah, so pretty much if you try to use the basically for anything else you're supposed to use a mop or you're supposed to use a rag. Most people just choose not to follow that, but the reason they have that in place is because apparently, even though the company buys it in bulk, and by bulk I mean 2 boxes that basically hold 6 canisters a piece, so that's 12 total. But even though they buy it in bulk, so relatively it should be cheaper, it's really expensive. This stuff is not cheap to buy, even for companies. Case in point why they're very strict about its usage. Because they don't want to have to keep buying it all the time. Cheap bastards. But anyway. But yeah, so, what is it? But yeah, so basically my boss, so pretty much every so often you have to give that floor a really good cleaning. Move the pallets out of the way, all that stuff, and just basically really, really scrub that floor. Fortunately, we have equipment to do that. But you see, so my boss, the genius that he is,
our records don't say anything about anything like this.
I don't know what he did. I don't know how he did it, but the water to bleach ratio was so off. He turned that back room into into basically just it smelled of nothing but bleach. Seriously, and mind you, he was in the dairy cooler, and yet that smell permeated from the dairy cooler out to the entire back room of receiving, And I was just so lightheaded. I'm like, well, why am I feeling so lightheaded? What is going on here? And then I'm just like, and then one of my like, and then another one of my bosses came back and he's going like, holy, it's like, what is going on here? And he's just like we're just like, I don't know. It's like, I mean, like, I think he's cleaning in the, he's like what the, it's like, so we both go in there and it's like, dear God, it's like the back room was bad, but that room was just, I don't know how the hell that guy did not pass out. But yeah, it's like, oh my God, like, what was he thinking? He's like, it's like, what? I'm just cleaning the back room. I gotta scrub the floors and everything. It's like, dude, you're gonna kill someone. He was just like, are you kidding me? It's like, you're supposed to be a manager. This is, oh God, but yeah, it's like, wow, I was just, yeah. I hate this part of the fight, by the way. So, now you'll notice that basically, you know, I'm kind of having I'm probably having a much harder time than I did as 2B. Mostly because of the fact that, like, I forgot that you have absolutely no control over the camera, when that's happening. Like, pretty much this fight is a grade 8 example of just how much different Japanese games are to American games, or sorry, I mean Western games. Because in Western games, us not having control of the camera is almost sacrilegious. It's like, just give me control of the camera, especially when you're platforming. Oh my God, like, there are some games that, I don't know what the developer was thinking, and I don't care. It's like, do not take the camera away from me when I'm trying to do a very precise third-person platforming challenge. I'm looking at you, Shadow of the Colossus, and you too, Legacy of Kain. God damn it! Like, seriously, you think developers would learn? It's like, you're trying to have us do super precise jumping. Either give us control of the camera, or make this a 2D platformer where the camera doesn't matter anymore! Jesus! But yeah, what do you call it? But yeah, another thing that I didn't realize about this fight is, you don't even get access to hacking her right away, either. You have to wait until after this part. Like, after you finish this part, that's when you have the option to basically, start hacking her. So yeah, so that's the reason why, like, I tried doing some hacking at the beginning, but it's like, oh, I realized, like, oh, I can't. I literally cannot. The game is not letting me. So, yeah. Oh boy. Sorry, had an itchy ear. Whoop, sorry. But yeah, so for the most part, the first half of the of this is pretty much exactly like 2B's. You're just going around fighting the androids, fighting that thing melee style and all that stuff. So, you know, there's nothing nuanced yet until she basically comes back out. That's when you can start hacking her. Until then, though, it's just pretty much business as usual. It's same old, which is kind of harder with 9S, just because again, he just has much less options at his disposal, just because he does not have access to a second weapon. That is huge. Because 2B does have access to effectively 3 weapons, her pod and her 2, basically melee weapons, she is way more well equipped to basically deal with enemies, as opposed to 9S, who, if you can't hack the person, and if his pod isn't useful, then he's got nothing. Because he's a scout, you know, he's a scanner. Okay, and now we've reached it. The annoying hacking. So, too late I start realizing, and mind you, by what I mean by too late, I mean like at least like 5 or 6 attempts. I start realizing that those blocks right there, they're not just they serve as good barriers to basically keep you safe from the enemy projectiles, but at the same time they also hurt you because they're also made of the same energy that those guys are shooting at you, as you can plainly see. So yeah, so by me just grazing it, I basically say I'm losing health just by doing that. And I'm like, god damn it, it's like it's just so like, honestly, I could not. It's like at first I was thinking like, yeah, like hacking. This seems interesting and fun, but oh boy, man, did that die hard because it's just not that easy. It's really this is not easy by any stretch of the imagination. It's difficult. It's frustrating. You have to pay attention to so many things, and fortunately you don't have a timer in this one. This one's unlimited, so you can spend as much time as you want trying to do it. But in later hacks of this fight, you're actually on a time limit, so not only do you have to worry about the energy projectiles, you have to worry about basically like the the enemies themselves inside there coming at you and all that stuff. You have to worry about the geometry itself, but you also have to worry about an an arbitrary timer, and it's like, oh my god, it's like, oh. But yeah, it's like, yeah, I really just can't get behind this. It's just not, it's not that fun, really. Mostly just because of the fact that it's just a completely different play style that I'm not at all that comfortable with. Because, to be honest, this is like those types of, and yeah, I end up dying this time too, because, yep, I just fly right into the stupid wall. I'm like, damn it! Like, I was trying to be all strategic and everything, but, I think this is where the one I succeed, though. Because this time I'm just literally letting them come to me, as opposed to chasing them down. And honestly, this one I'm kind of proud of myself, but my goodness. It's just really frustrating. It's just really frustrating. Yep, this is the one I succeed at, because he's stuck right there. He can't do anything to me. All I have to do is just basically kill that thing. And now I have access to him, and bing bang boom, done! Yay! Yahtzee! On a side note, I really do like, Simone? I think that's how you pronounce her name? Simone? Or, I don't know, it might be French. But, yeah, like, I kind of like her story, really. Yeah, like the fact that she, did all of this to herself and basically all of her victims, just for the, just to get the affection of Jean-Paul, who basically does not care about any of that stuff. He's just such a, he's a self-absorbed egomaniac, plain and simple. Yeah, and now this, just, God, I don't like this hacking. It's just so frustrating. And to be honest, I feel like at the end of the day, it's just, like, the only reason I'm winning is, I feel it's one of two things. I'm either insanely lucky, or the game is just giving me free wins, because honestly, I have no skill at this. I admit it. I mean, I'll admit it. Like, I suck. I suck at this so bad. It's just, it's not my, it's not my type of game. I've never really, I've never really experienced anything like this before. This is so, it's so left field. It's so different. And honestly, I feel it's kind of bullshit at other times. Just because, like, there's one of them here that I really hate, because it is absolute nonsense. Like, I think it was this. No, I think it's the next one, probably. Like, let's see. Because one of these is just such BS. Yeah, this one. See? Like, look at that. How? That is just... That's just not fair. That is absolute bull. It's ridiculous. Like, this one too. Like, look at that. It's only shooting the black ones, the ones that you literally have to dodge because you cannot destroy them. And then all the while you're just getting attacked by the other things. It's like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is too much. And then look, see? Again, it's like, this is nuts. This is silly. This is just silly. I really don't like it. Which, you know, is kind of why I really won't be doing it. And then, oh, this one here really peeved me off. Cause this, okay, so, this one's really annoying. Just because of the fact that, that stupid ball right there, like, as you can see, like, look at that. Look at that. Just look at that. Like, where am I supposed to go? It's like it's literally just pushing you into one section where you have nowhere to go, and it's just, this is nonsense. I will say though that I do like the fact that at least it gives me priority, because even if I die, if I manage to kill the thing, if I manage to kill it when I die at the same time, I get the win. So at least they were nice about that, because my goodness, if they literally had to make it where, you know, it's like, even if you kill the thing, if you die, then you still lose, and it's like, oh, that's BS. That is BS, and you know it. And then, ooh, so this one's actually pretty easy, so to speak. Mostly because it's just like in a nice little date. Yeah, it's just basically going in a sort of ring around the rosy kind of thing, so it's not too bad. But yeah, they're just, I don't know. I just don't really find this, like, the concept is fun, but man, the application is hard. Like, this is really hard. I mean, look at that. It's like you gotta be like pixel perfect, sort of. Yeah, see? We both died, but basically I still got the win. Oop, almost dropped it. Sorry. Almost dropped my controller, and I think that would have affected the, recording in a bad way. Alright. But, yep, so that's it. We finally killed the boss. I feel like it took me longer than when I fought the boss straight up as 2B. I'd have to check, but I'm pretty sure I beat that boss way faster before. What do you call it? But yeah, but basically, so this text right here, this is just basically her, reflecting on essentially everything she's just kind of done for the sake of that, you know, basically of Jean-Paul, of just basically trying to gain his affection, his love, like, you know, how by trying to win his adoration, she what do you call it? Like, she basically ended up, well, falling into the depths of madness and becoming obsessed with being beautiful, because, like, you see right here, like, beauty is pretty skin, beauty is stylish accessories, beauty is looking one's best. That last part is technically correct, because, you know, basically, you know, like, beauty at the end of the day is, you know, like, you know, if you look your best, if you're snazzy, if you're dapper, if you're gorgeous, then yeah, that's fair to define as beauty. But like anything that's subjective like this, beauty is highly relative. By which I mean that it just completely and utterly depends on the person experiencing it. So, you know, it's like you know, like beauty essentially is akin to art, where one person can look at this gorgeous, magnificent sculpture and say, like, that is the most amazing piece of art I've ever seen, and then this other person can just basically look at this tin can basically placed on display at this modern art gallery and say like, I feel the God, I can't even fake it. Look, modern art is garbage, okay, guys? Let's be fair here. Modern art is just, what the hell? It's like someone blows into a tissue and they call it art. Yeah, that's art. You know, I take a I take a canvas and just chuck paint at it. That's art. It's like, honestly, philosophers and art critics can debate about this until the cows come home and beyond. But that's just splatters. Come on. Where's the soul? Where's the I mean, seriously, where's the tact? Where's the skill? Where's the detail? I mean, I'm not saying you have to be like picturesque like Da Vinci when he created the Mona Lisa, but I mean, come on. I mean, even Salvador Dali, who basically made the weirdest things you could possibly imagine. That crazy freaking Spaniard, he was so amazing. But seriously, even he, who made these ridiculous, like, just over the top art. I mean, like, like the melting clocks or crazy stairs or. Wait, now, was Crazy Stairs Dali? Might have been. I don't know, I'll have to look up on that one. But either way, my point is that, like, these, like, the fact that he made his, the fact that he even created his own art style, surrealism, like, it's just, I mean, heck, to this day, the melting clocks is referenced in so much media, so much pop culture, that it's become a staple of, basically of just the weird and the esoteric. Like, usually, if you're going to Crazy Town, or if you're dealing with eldritch abominations, you're gonna see a clock that's melting, or something weird like that. Or that crazy or that crazy guy or lady who's basically in that painting with like those, basically that's like, I want to say he or she is on a boat, and then they're just like screaming to the tops of their lungs, or they're just like, like they just have their hands to their cheeks, and they just have like their mouth is just wide open, and going, ah!
I guess.
Oh boy. Wow. Man, we've touched on a lot of subjects today, haven't we? We've touched on current events, i.e. what's happening in the game right now. We've touched on basically past experiences, i.e. my time with my management. We've talked about the great artists. We've talked about culture. Like, wow. So many, we've touched on little pointless minutia nuances in regards to like 2B's outfit. Like the fact that basically, how she's just like how basically it gets wet, but then it just immediately dries and stuff. We've talked about camera design, or sorry, camera controls. Yeah.
It does seem awfully suspicious. But I've never seen
Wow.
a machine that could communicate.
We've definitely talked about quite a few things in this video. Honestly, I really wish I had someone to talk to, though. I mean, like, to be frank, it like if because I'm kind of doing this in the moment, and I'm just kind of relying on what's coming out of my head. If I don't get, if I don't have anything to kind of just bring stuff forward, most of the time I'm just doing this, just like going like dot 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 pause awkwardness sort of thing, and whatnot. Because for the most part, I don't really need to say much about what's happening in the game. The game can speak for itself. This is like one of the best games that I've ever played from. Like, when did this come out? Like, what, 2017 or something? Like, maybe it was 16, somewhere around there. Like, I know it's a fairly old game at this point, at least by, basically, console standards, anyway. I want to say this probably I want to say Nier Automata. I want to say it was like, was this a console seller? Was this like one of the first games to be introduced, when the PS4 came out?
They originally came.
No. I think that goes to Bloodborne. Bloodborne was the console seller, but this was still a good. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this came like maybe a year or two after Bloodborne, probably, give or take. I don't know. I'll have to probably check that later. But yeah. Now, this cutaway here. This one is so weird. And honestly, I have no clue. Like,
why do we have to wear undergarments?
I assume that this is just being directed towards us, the player, because there's no way in hell the androids would be aware that this is happening. By any stretch of the imagination. It looks... I want to say they're in the ruins of the city, but considering that everything looks like this, it's hard to tell where they are geographically. And honestly, I don't even know how they can even stay... I don't even know how they even stayed as hidden as they were, considering they're like right out in the open. And, Yorha literally has a space station with a satellite network so precise that they can actually, pinpoint locations on maps for you. So, how is it that no one... and not to mention these are also androids who are basically watching them 24/7. And from what I can tell... basically they have beds, so I assume that they do sleep, but... I don't know. To be honest, I don't even know why they're even programmed to sleep.
They really don't want to fight.
Oh, well. Anyway. So, stay tuned for the next episode. Until next time, though, this is Mega Wizard 79, bidding you all adieu.